Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Jordan J. and Buddies podcast. This is your usual host, Will, joined once again by the good buddy, Brannon.
What's up?
So, we are hot off of just seeing Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage, which is just a movie. This movie was fine. I don't know. What you got? Like,
yeah, fine. Fine is a good word, I suppose. It was better than the first one, but not as much as we expected it to be.
This definitely is a sequel to the first movie. So if you had some fun in that first movie, you will like this movie. First thing I'm going to say, because we wanted to say this too, we are going to keep the first part of this things as spoiler-free as possible, and we will get to some spoilers, and we will tell you when they're coming. But we want this to be an, if you haven't seen it yet, maybe take our word for it and go see it kind of thing at first, and we'll get into some spoilers, but we'll let you know.
Yeah, because we may be saying it's fine, but we're still saying go see it. Go see the movie.
Like, if you liked the first one, if you like what superhero movies are currently doing, or if you just like a dumb movie that's just kind of like it, because this movie, I will say, does not take itself too seriously. This movie is largely just like, I even said this almost seems like a parody of what a Venom movie would be.
Yeah.
This is like Mad TV making a Venom movie. Like, it feels like
I mean, I was happy Andy Serkis got involved. I cannot speak at the moment.
It's all right.
But yeah, like it was definitely some of the same writers as the first one, where it was some of the dialogue was like, okay.
Like, I will say, as usual, Tom Hardy is doing a pretty good job. Like, I think I have almost no problems with him in these things because he's a good actor. But as such, a good actor will definitely do whatever you write him to do. They wrote him a script, and boy, did he act it. But he did a good job with it, but they gave him a bad script.
Well, and I've already been hearing again, because you know me, 24/7 on the loop trying to get into this stuff and find the behind the scenes as soon as possible. Apparently, and I haven't told you this yet either, I've told you that he's also the voice for Venom. Like, they distort his voice and everything. But he apparently, for this movie, recorded all of his lines for the Venom dialogue, and then put in an earpiece, which you could see. I even noticed it during the movie. At one point, there was a small, like, little wire to his shirt and stuff. But apparently, he played back his dialogue for Venom, so he was hearing the voice in his head, and he was having that argument with himself on screen. But this time, the first one, he was just doing it by himself, no voice, no anything, and just getting cues. This time, he had the voice, so he was just communicating with himself.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I think, for what it's worth, the conversations between Eddie and Venom felt way more authentic than otherwise than the first one, and they already felt pretty good in the first one. I will say that's something that worked in the first one was their back and forth, but of course it would, because it's Tom Hardy talking to himself. But in here you can really tell that it was actually a conversation in that sense.
It was a lot more fluent. I agree there. That was definitely an improvement. The animation got better for Venom from 1 to 2 as they put like a lot more detail into like giving his face emotions and stuff, which definitely we know why. If you see the movie, you see Venom's emotional.
Yeah.
To say the least.
And I will say that in the world of villains, Woody Harrelson as Cletus Cassidy does a way better job than that clown from the first one, that like Elon Musk takeoff.
Riz Ahmed.
I don't know. I just think Woody Harrelson is just really good, and I thought he was really good in this.
I think he was good for what he was given.
Once again, Woody Harrelson is another really, really good actor who got cast in a Venom movie, and so it's like it's only as good as that's gonna be. It's a dumb Venom movie.
Yeah, it definitely. Again, like Will said, if you like the first one, you're going to like this one. And this is coming from someone who liked the first one. But you got to acknowledge that there's definitely some cheesy moments in it. There's definitely some payoffs, too, They have a couple of follow-ups from the first one that they call back to in this one,
Yeah.
I mean, it was just another movie where it's like, I might whip this out and watch it once or twice a year, especially because now
It's whack because it's super like like I said, it doesn't take itself too seriously, so it knows. I think it kind of knows that it's being stupid. But the biggest problem, I've been saying this for forever, it was PG-13. And this movie and Venom especially should have been R. They embraced an R rating for Deadpool because they're like, this is a character who needs this. This is a character who is a mercenary, so he should have an R rating. Venom is a cold-blooded, bloodthirsty killer, and Carnage is that turned up to 11. Why was this a PG-13 franchise?
Well, yeah.
I am so angry about that because they have to do all these quick cut, creative shots where Carnage will kill somebody and it's like just out of camera view, or there's just no blood. It's like that pulled me out of the movie because it seemed fake. It seemed like a YouTube video, like a Carnage fan movie.
Yeah,
where they don't have the
true.
budget for it.
It definitely it felt fan made at certain times, and again, the animation was great, but. Yeah, like I went into this, and again, we were as excited as you could be for it being PG-13. You know, like most superhero movies nowadays, except for Logan and Deadpool, are PG-13. So we kind of knew going into it they're probably just trying to follow the trend and play it safe and be family friendly and stuff. Which it's Venom. Don't be family friendly with Venom.
Yeah, you're making a Carnage movie. It's not going to be family friendly.
Yeah, is so. It just, I don't know, they had some callbacks to the comics and stuff, like enough to make me happy in that regard, but like could have gone so much darker. Even with it being PG-13, you didn't even need the blood, but you could have, like, with Cletus Cassidy, again, Woody Harrelson's a great actor, and I loved seeing him on stuff, but like Carnage is a character you're supposed to be revolted by him. You're supposed to be a little worried, and you're supposed to be like, somebody needs to take this guy down. And in this one, it was like, yeah, this guy's doing bad stuff, and some of it's brutal, but like I didn't feel that, like, I don't know, like that oomph, you know?
There should be at least a moderate level of fear when you're witnessing Carnage doing things.
Yeah.
And I did not feel scared of him at all. I'm not saying this shouldn't be a horror movie, but like, he's Carnage.
Well,
I have wanted to see him on screen for like 10 or more years of me like being conscious of him being a character. I was like, I want to see this in live action. And it just didn't live up to what I was kind of expecting.
Well, they definitely, like, I don't know, I guess that they tried to play up, like, just other aspects of Cletus Cassidy and try to make him, like, I guess the trend within the past couple years is, like, let's take some brutal villains like the Joker and make them more, like, understandable. But, like, at the end of the day, when you do that with people like the Joker was alright, cool, whatever, but, like, you did that with Cletus Cassidy, kind of the same thing, but it's like, you don't need to make him understandable. Lay out his backstory, which you did. You added Easter eggs from the comics and everything. You added all of the kills he's made in his past leading up to this point on why he's such a fearsome person in the first place. But then you did nothing with it. You kind of played up some other aspects with him. And I don't want to go into that too much until we talk spoilers, but like,
well, yeah, because
for now, like that's all I can really say.
For them to illustrate him being crazy, a lot of it was just like, we're just gonna make him say some weird things.
Yeah,
he's just gonna like speak like disconnected poetry. And I'm like,
pretty much.
And I'm like, is that a crazy person? Have you written a crazy person, or is this just like you trying to just make him disconnected from the audience? And it didn't actually make any sense. So I don't know. I think we're doing a lot of bashing. I thought this was a fun movie.
It was,
but
definitely
my
fun.
Goodness, there were some dumb things in this.
Yeah.
But it was fun. I had fun watching it.
Oh,
I was like,
definitely.
this is a fun theater experience. This is cool. But there were definitely some things where it pulled me out of the movie. I'm gonna say, as you guys know, this is my favorite thing. Carnage shouts the title of the movie in the movie. I always make fun of him. Then this is why I think this is so funny, because movies do it. If they didn't do it, it would be dumb.
Why.
But movies do it. There's a part where Carnage gets all mad and he yells, "Let there be carnage," and I was like, boo.
And we even made jokes. Remember, we even made jokes like when we first heard the title announcement, "Let There Be Carnage," I was like, I thought it was going to be Maximum Carnage, but I guess they could save that. We'll see. But like, "Let There Be Carnage," and you even said like, what if they do the Peter Griffin joke? What if like, for some reason he looks at the camera and he's like, "Let there be carnage," and then sure as heck, like
sure enough,
yeah, exactly the same.
Because I even pointed with us and our other friend when Venom says his name, I was like, look, he said it. Like when he said Venom, I was like, look, they said.
Or when he said, "I'm the lethal protector."
Like when they said that, I was like, oh, look at that, they're kind of doing it. I was like, but they wouldn't be so stupid as to use the full title. But I forgot I'm watching a stupid movie.
Yeah,
so of course they did
Sony.
it.
What do you expect?
So that was pretty cool. I think that is the best we can do until we breach spoilers. right? Unless you got anything else, but
I mean, for the most part, like, I do want to give a little more credit, because I did a lot of bashing too, to, like, Andy Serkis is amazing with the motion capture. He's a motion capture god in Hollywood. Like, we all know this. He worked on Caesar Planet of the Apes. He was Gollum. He did all sorts of stuff, you know? The dude has a resume. So I was happy to see him come on, because Venom seemed a lot more fluid. Carnage, even though the kills were muted, very fluid in the actions and stuff, you know? Very realistic, at least, for that. Like, this is a movie I can say the CG didn't take me out of it. The CG kept me in it, and that was really nice, because a lot of movies, even the first Venom to an extent, had a CG battle where it's like, this is a little overboard, you know? Like, we've discussed that before.
Because we've even seen this in some very current things. This isn't like something to throw at 20-year-old movies. This is like Black Panther had bad CGI.
Yeah, exactly. So,
you know?
like, it's
so to have good CGI that looks like I could see this happening in the real world is pretty cool.
Which Black Panther also had Andy Serkis in it. That's funny. But full circle, he's like, I saw what we did with this movie, I could do it way better, they should have let me consult. But anyways, so I want to give credits to that. And again, the writing is a little weak, but the story, you still get the story, you still get the vibe, you can still keep up and be in the flow for stuff. It's still a very fun movie. And again, if you like the first one, you'll like the second one. If you didn't like the first one, I'd say still give this one a shot. You know, there's a lot of good to it as well.
But if you already thought that the first movie was too much, like, this is too clean of a Venom movie, you will have the same problem with the second one.
Yep.
You will still find that problem. So they did not fix that in the slightest. But I think now we will officially cross into spoilers.
Spoiler talk!
This is why they had to keep it PG-13. Is because, and I'm going to hit the biggest spoiler, because of the end credits scene, they're keeping it in the same universe as other PG-13 Marvel movies.
I almost said it earlier. Do you think I almost spoiled it earlier? I don't know. I mean, I think almost cuss a lot of the time in this podcast too, so some people could be like, was he gonna say a cuss word, or was he gonna? I don't know. Who knows? Anyways, but yeah.
So given the end credit scene, which, you know, is them officially, for whatever reason, exiting their universe and entering the MCU, which was just insanity. But because of that, that's why. Nothing in the MCU has hit R-rated, so they had to keep this established version of Venom PG-13. It makes sense. I don't like it, but it makes sense.
Yeah, because again, I've made this argument before, is like, I wish all superhero movies could be rated R to an extent, you know? Like, anybody who's an avid comic fan knows these things could get dark if they were given the leniency to. But you understand why a lot of them are PG-13, you know, from marketing to you just overall, like, community. Like, Marvel has built a community. DC too, but just in general, superhero movies have a community of multiple generations. So you got to keep that going, you know?
Superhero movies are the kind of thing that you can go to and you can take your kid to.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? And
so
it
they
should
wanted that
always
with
be
Venom.
that.
And I get it. Again, Tom Hardy does a great job with everything, but he's very muted on it. But would you rather have a Venom that has room to grow, where they keep trying to push the boundaries of Venom and push the boundaries of PG-13? Because look at PG-13 2021 versus even PG-13 2011. The guidelines have definitely shifted a little bit, you know? So they're getting away with more, where I'd like to see the growth compared to if they had Venom rated R in his own universe and Carnage rated R, and then they crossed them over with Spider-Man. It's like, well, now they seem muted, you know? Like, it's better to have consistency.
For what it's worth, I will say that's one thing between these two movies that will logically carry through, is that Venom is consistent.
Yes.
That is the same Venom in between 1 and 2. They did not change him for the good or the bad. He's the same character, he's written the same, and so to carry him into the MCU will make logical sense.
Well,
he's going to be written the same, and he will fit in well with the, if you want to call it muted, but the family-friendly MCU.
Well, I'm excited too, because I mean, the MCU's gotten dark for one thing.
True.
But I'm really excited because for years they've said Tom Holland's Spider-Man will be the only one to cross not only universes but like cinematic universes. And turns out it's not Tom Holland's Spider-Man crossing; it's everybody involved with Tom Holland's Spider-Man crossing, like Venom and Morbius and all of these other people coming.
Oh yeah.
But the way they did it is like, I had a suspicion that it was going to be some sort of like hint, like, okay, we're going to see the crossover, because again, Spider-Man 3 trailer, we see Doctor Strange does some multiversal stuff. I kind of expected Venom's universe to be one of them.
Yeah.
But I expected it to be like Doctor Strange's portal, like having him get sucked through it and falling through it and him being like, where am I? Or something like that, you know? But the way they did it, just like, even the effect, again, the visuals was so perfect. And the dialogue behind it got my ears perked, because Venom's like, we have 8 billion years of Clintar hive knowledge. Do you want to learn? Which opens it up to like, Null, the god of the symbiotes, which is like a super comic deep cut on stuff. It's super dark, but like it also opens up like callbacks to Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man universe, because then I got thinking right after how Venom licks the TV, he licks Tom Holland's thing, and he's like, that guy or whatever. A lot of people like, well, why would he go after Spider-Man? He just thinks that that's a cool thing or whatever. No, because he was just saying he was going to show Eddie Clintar knowledge. So technically, if they're all linked through the multiverse and they have that 8 billion years knowledge, the Venom that died in Spider-Man 3 has that knowledge and possessed it to this current Venom, so he got that tinge. Hey, Spider-Man, I know that guy.
Yeah,
so
I see what you're saying.
It links up there, you know. So I was really excited about that because I caught it right off the bat. Where I did like they specified though, where it's like, let me show you this knowledge, and then they warp, and Venom's like, that wasn't me. Just to clarify, hey, I don't have that ability. But then it ties in right away as soon as he said that's not me, and Eddie's like, that's not me either. I'm like, so it was Doctor Strange. I guarantee it was Doctor Strange. And then sure enough, J. Jonah Jameson on the TV, and I was like, yep. Everybody in the theater was going nuts, but I was just sitting there shaking my head, yes, nodding my head, like, yep, this is exactly what I wanted. This is exactly what I wanted.
Yeah.
But
so that was cool, and that was all that I wanted from this movie, because I didn't even think about it really until we got to that scene. And I was like, oh yeah, it makes sense because we're entering Spider-Man season.
Yeah.
We already have been with this multiversal stuff in the trailer, and them kind of teasing the ideas and stuff. We know that they were going to have Doc Ock in there. We don't know what the context of any of this stuff is going to be, but we do know that we're going to be getting some major level crossovers, the likes of which we've possibly never seen before, ever put to film. And because of that, logically, if there's a Venom movie coming out 2 months before the Spider-Man movie, makes sense for them to be for something to happen like that.
And then
so
Morbius a month after Spider-Man 3 also, so you have all that close range. But I'm also angry, going back really quick, because we have to bash a little with spoiler talk too.
Oh yeah.
I'm very angry at Carnage's voice. His voice, man. Carnage in every iteration has a shrill voice, and it sounds like it's multiplied. And I'm glad that they had the small detail where he said, "I am Carnage," because if you notice, Venom says we are Carnage, but Carnage is one, or Venom says we are Venom, not we are Carnage. But Carnage says, "I am Carnage," because exactly, they're a lot more linked, where they're like, we're one human being.
Yeah.
Because Carnage was built through blood. Venom was built through neurons, so that's a different type of link on stuff. But that's one of my complaints. Carnage isn't susceptible to sound. That's one of his big things in the comics, is like Venom is. Carnage isn't, because he gets past that real quick. So like that was a big thing, you know. That was a little irritating. And then they made him like emotional. He's all in love with Shriek, and yeah, him and Shriek have a storyline in the comics and stuff, but it's kind of brief, you know. In this, they grew up together and they got separated. And he's
she was his only light in the dark universe.
And that's where that poetry comes from, where it's like, buddy, really? Are you like in 9th grade depressed behind the gym locker after somebody beat you up and took your lunch money? Like
my gosh, it's
just I don't know.
Them making this also into a love story on two different levels. They're still handling the stuff with Eddie Brock and his ex-girlfriend, which at least I can say carries over from the first movie, so it continues a narrative. But them trying to do that, along with Venom and Eddie having their problems with each other, which I like that one. I thought we put that to bed at the end of the last movie.
True, but I did like, at least, I thought they put the idea to bed, but for the execution at least, I liked the way they still progressed with it. They made Venom a lot more of his own character, because I didn't like it when we first walked out of the movie, but I've thought on it more, and I'm like, at least they're giving Venom more of his own. Like, they're showing it's not just a suit that Eddie takes on is more powerful. Like, he is his own entity, his own being,
with his own thoughts, his own way of receiving stuff, so I can see that that needed to be fleshed out a little bit more, but I'm still like, I thought we kind of handled this already. They're trying to do those relationships and Carnage bonding with Carnage, having a beef with Venom, Carnage bonding with Cletus Cassidy, Cletus having romance with Shriek, Carnage not liking Shriek, and
which is out of
Cletus
nowhere,
and Eddie having conversations. On top of that, you've also got the detective. You've also got
Venom's, they set up Toxin. I'm happy about that, at least.
You've also got Eddie's ex's current fiance, and there's just too many things happening, I think, for them to cram it into what they were trying to call a concise hour-and-a-half long movie. It wasn't concise.
Yeah.
It was an hour and a half, but it was not concise.
Well, I definitely, too, like, even with the new fiance, like, I even pointed out, like, that small tonal shift where in the first one, he helps Eddie, you know? He, like, gives him the CT scan, and he tries helping him wherever. In this one, he's like, really? We have to deal with Eddie. We have to deal with the alien stuff. And it's like, you guys were cool with him at the end of the last movie. You ended fine. Why are we going backwards here, you know?
Yeah.
But the big thing, everybody's so excited about Venom crossing over with Carnage, or crossing over Venom, but that's just it. He's not going to cross over Carnage, because Carnage got his freaking head bit off. And maybe we could see him in the multiverse. Maybe we could see a new version. That's the whole thing. He transferred to a new universe. But still, why? Why are you gonna kill off?
They killed Cletus.
Yeah, and like I do like they dropped the one F-bomb in the movie with it.
Yeah,
you know,
that
like,
was a good
guy,
that was a good use of it.
But still, it's like it's Carnage, you know. And I do see some people complaining like I didn't know symbiotes could go into computers. That's from the comics. I looked into it, and even Venom eating the Carnage symbiote to an extent is part of the comics, so we could see him come back. But it's still irritating. You don't do it that quick. You barely built up Carnage, and you already killed him, and you didn't even build him up as much as we wanted.
This should not have been a villain who dies at the end of the movie kind of movie.
Yeah.
This should have been a he gets away kind of movie.
Because then you transfer Eddie to the multiverse, you could have transferred Carnage too.
It should have been in some capacity, and I don't know. I'm no writer, but it should have been. You know, there's some kind of a thing where you have to either save where Venom / Eddie have to either save the ex-girlfriend or chase after Carnage, and they choose to save her.
That would have been
and
cool.
then Carnage takes off. So yeah, they battled him. They had their good fight, and then he had to let him run for his own greater
because of
good.
something Carnage put them into.
Because exactly. It would be like a perfect, like, kind of like dilemma kind of thing where he has to pick the lesser of two evils, and he regrets it, but he's like, this is the better choice. I can catch up to him later on. That way, the movie has a natural conclusion that also leaves a cliffhanger for Carnage still existing, because as of right now, he does not.
True.
The symbiote does not really exist. It got eaten. Who's to say that can't come back in some weird way? But I mean, it is gone, and Cletus is missing exactly one head. So,
well, the symbiote's gone, quote unquote, because I mean, they set up Toxin, they set up Patrick Mulligan getting his wide eyes at the end, and Toxin's the next symbiote after Carnage. So I don't know if they're like, gonna try to be like, oh, Shriek gave him his powers, because people are speculating that. But I mean, he had his fight with Carnage too, and we saw Carnage stab him at one point, so that could be a brief transfer, you know, of the symbiote. I like that though. We'll see where that goes, because Eddie Brock at the end of this one is wanted for killing Carnage now.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Like you killed the mass serial killer that was trying to kill everyone else, and now you're wanted. But
didn't he just do the government's job for them? They were gonna kill him.
That's my whole point. It's just like you guys failed. I took this into my own account, but it's because I have the alien, right? All right, for sure.
So,
but that's pretty much all I have to say on the whole thing. You know, I do gotta dip out for a second.
I think I gotta say, yeah, when it comes to just these movies, that's about all there is to say. It's corny. It's good. I can't call this a bad movie because I've seen some bad movies. I saw Ghost Rider 2. I saw the Fantastic Four from 2014.
Fanforstic.
This is not a bad movie, but it's definitely just like a corny kind of dumb movie that is fun enough. Have some fun, watch it, whatever. But man, it's just whack.
It's a movie that should have been serious, but didn't take itself too serious. But in that way, it was still decent. It was fun. It was a good time, and it matches up with the new universe it's going to be trying to go into. But that's all I have to say on the whole thing.
So it's not that bad, but it's not that good either. This is the outro, and as such, I'm going to say this. Eminem, once again, does a song at the end where he once again... It's like a song that has Venom in the thing, like he did in the first movie. So we are 2 for 2 on Venom movies that have Eminem singing a song over the end credits that involves the title of the movie in the song. And I just think that's kind of stupid. I'm as much of an Eminem fan as you can be, but I just think that's pretty stupid. And I guess that's it. So we'll catch you guys later on. That was the outro.